Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, January the 9th, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. We made it through another week. It's always another milestone when we reach a Sunday night, isn't it? I'd like to welcome everyone to my show tonight. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube. We're going to go over methane and sea ice and a few climate related items. So we're going to start with the NOAA methane data. I'm going to start with the Friday data from the 8th. That's the 7th. This is for the 477/469 millibar reading, Met-Op-B, which is the Met-Op-1 satellite, in the morning on the 7th. The mean or average was 1912 parts per billion. The high reading was 2421. In the afternoon, the mean was 1918, so that's up, isn't it? And the high reading was 2497. And then for the 8th, which was Saturday, back to the morning reading, the mean was 1913. The high reading was 2397. And then in the afternoon, the mean was 1916, and the high reading was 2470. Here's our spreadsheet. So let's go over what it did this week. Last Sunday, the data on Saturday was at 1918.5 parts per billion. That gave us an increase for the week of 0.5. And then on Sunday it went down 1.5. On Monday it went down 3 parts per billion. That was a steep decrease. On Tuesday it went down 0.5. On Wednesday it went down another 0.5, and that gave us our lowest reading so far of 1913. And then on Thursday it went up 1. On Friday it went up 1, so it averaged out to be 1915. And then Saturday it went down 0.5, so that averaged out to be 1914.5. That gave us an overall decrease for this week of 4 parts per billion. Now, we don't have the yearly change for the 8th because there was some incomplete data last year. But for the 7th, as of yesterday, Friday the 7th, we're still 27.5 parts per billion higher than a year ago. So it's going up faster than it has been, and not anyway. It's been doing that ever since I've been watching it, which was the early part of 2019. Here's our chart. Here's the blue line going down this week of 4 parts per billion, and so we had a low of 1913 this week, and so that's lower than where it was on December 18th. So that might have been our low for the season, because it was just brief, and then it's stair-stepping, it's hovering right around the 1914 reading. So now last year we bottomed out here in January for last season, and it was January the 12th, and it was at 1882.5. So, this week we will, well, today's the 9th, so we will have the 12th in this week, so we'll see what happens. That 1913 that we had on Wednesday, right here, I'm thinking that's going to be our low for this season. So, for a year ago, from the 7th, increase of 27.5, we're 45 parts per billion higher than we were when we started this in March the 1st of 2019. So, we're in no man's land. These are readings that we haven't seen before, and what can we expect with these readings? Well, higher temperatures for one thing, more melting of the sea ice for another thing when it comes time, because as the heat rises and it's held in because the increased methane and the carbon dioxide that's going up, nitrogen dioxide that's going up, so just more increase, more records being broken. We're going to see more chaotic weather because the jet stream is broken, and so we'll see a lot of cold air swooping down next to warm air, and where those systems meet, you'll have chaotic weather. You'll have, freak snowstorms, freak floods, all of that. And we'll start seeing more and more rain across the Arctic earlier and later in the season. And we'll start seeing rain in the Antarctic too, if we're here long enough. And then it'll get to a point, I'm thinking pretty soon, that we won't be able to really grow the crops that we need and to feed everyone, and so there will be a lot of famines and the collapse of everything. It's all coming down all at the same time with the climate collapse and society collapse, the financial collapse. It's all coming down. We're in the end times, and it's all been prophesied of in the Bible. Jesus told us what to expect. So if you're ready, if you're aware of those things, you can be prepared spiritually for what's coming, because there's no fix to any of this. The only thing we can do is be spiritually ready to leave the planet. So now we'll look at the CAMS data for methane. This is Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service. Here we are for Saturday, yesterday, the 8th. Here's the Arctic view at surface level. So it went down overall 4 parts per billion this week. Here's our color ledger. And you'll see that difference primarily in the southern hemisphere, because here in this northern hemisphere we've got see this massive methane releases still in the North Kara Sea and around Komsomolets. You can see that it's coming up in several different places. It's not just one place. And see Russia, the waves moving across, and then they move out into the Arctic. We also have now this red, it was originally from a trail that had flung out from Combs and Mollets, but then as it spun around, instead of dissipating, it started releasing more here in the Chukchi Sea. So we're probably having a lot of methane blowouts from the seabed that we don't know about, that they're not telling us about. I don't know that they can really know that until they get some boats up there and start researching, and that won't be until the summertime. So, but that's just my thought, that we're having a lot of blowouts for whatever reason. Because the sea floor has warmed enough that those clathrates are just releasing, and there are big craters on the bottom of the sea floor where methane is blown out in the past, and they look like big craters, like what you see on the surface, like a meteor, where a meteor had gone, slammed into the planet. But these are blowouts in the sea floor. So here the data is for Saturday, and the forecast period is Sunday through Wednesday. This is the tar sands area in Canada. Right up here is from the lignite coal mine in North Dakota. And you can see California's streaming. It's looking awful. Now we'll go to the North Pole view. Now down here, as we can see, Spain's got quite a bit. France, Europe, all the way across, see, still really high. England, and then going across to Russia. The Persian Gulf is filled back up, and see it's streaming over around the borders. Look at Saudi Arabia, and then India is still streaming out over the coastline here in the Bengal Bay. Here's China. Now that white spot, that's near Beijing, and that's higher than the highest reading on cams. So that's the most polluted place on the planet, is Beijing. Let's see the arm going out from China, and see it's moving out across Norway, North and South Korea and so on. And then in North America, here's the Texas. That's not looking good. Let's see, Some days it's just big blobs just filling up areas. California is the whole interior is just a big methane blob, looks like. Now we'll hop down to the Antarctic. Now we can see the decrease. The colors are going down to the lower readings here over most of the Antarctic. Now it's at 1820 instead of 1840. This lighter blue is 1840. As this dissipates, if we keep going down in methane, then this light blue will give way to the darker blue. And so as this happens, we'll be able to isolate where the methane is coming up. For instance, you can see here it's popping up on the Amory ice sheet. It's also popping up all around this Brunt ice sheet. It's popping up here on this little elbow on this western edge. Also here next to the Ross Sea. And these are areas that was popping up before that we saw as well. Now we'll go to the global view. And we're seeing now the darker, the navy blue coming up more here in this southern hemisphere, here in the Indian Ocean, and that is 1800 parts per billion. And then here it's just a little wisp in the Pacific Ocean as well. See the white spot there, China, see. So it looks like the Earth is having a nervous breakdown with everything. And 500 HPA. This is about halfway up in the atmosphere, about the same level as what we're tracking on NOAA. So we've got the darkest, see, it's not solid all the way across. We've got some brighter red coming through. So that is a sign of lower methane. We're not seeing blues in the southern hemisphere. I don't know if it's going to go down enough to get blues with this new data set. And then total column, that's where the methane is added up through all the layers to get the highest reading. And the highest readings are China, all of China there, or a lot of China. Then reds, lots of reds there. Okay, now I'm going to go on through these things. Here's sulfur dioxide today. This is from CAMS. There's a big release here in the Pacific Ocean. This is from a volcano that's going off in the Galapagos, the Wolf Volcano, and it's been dormant for about 7 years, and so it went off yesterday, and we saw it yesterday as well. So it's still releasing. That's the biggest release. Here it is at 500 HPA. So that's, where it's shooting up into the atmosphere, and it's gathering there. We also have it shooting up over here from Colombia and South America. There's some volcanoes going off there, and then Popocatépetl that's going off too in Mexico. Here's the South America view. So the Galapagos Islands are right here, and then here's the sulfur dioxide. And then here it is at 500 HPA. Now let's go back. Oh, I've got the wrong picture. This is... Okay, sorry. This one was yesterday. This one is today. And I just grabbed the wrong one. This is at 500 HPA, and it's a different view. So South America's over here on the right. This is from those volcanoes going off. And it looks like, I think it's Colombia there. And then here's Popo. So this is the Central America view. So it's quite a bit. And then here's the Antarctic with the ozone. So the really dangerous zone has closed up. It thickened up enough to where it's not in that black line and the bluish purple, but it's still quite thin over all of the Antarctic. It's all below the average. The solid yellow is 300 Dobson units, and that's considered average, and then it's down from there. And the sun is up, and it's in high melt, so there's lots of radiation coming in. Here's the Arctic view of the ozone. We've got a thinning here in the North Atlantic coming up towards Svalbard, and then a thinning here just south of the Iceland area, and thinning over Greenland. Here's the global view for ozone. See all these greens around the mid-latitudes? That's where it's lower than normal. See Australia, you're all in the green, and then the blue-green. Same with New Zealand. That's all of those. Now, I'm going to go through Climate Reanalyzer next, show you that. Here's 2 meter maximum temperatures for today. So the southern hemisphere is in their summertime now, and see Australia, the whole interior is in the white, so it's quite hot. It's above 100 degrees there. And then here across the Congo and Africa, it's in the white zone. And then in southern South America, that's all in the white zone. That's Bolivia there. So Paraguay, and then Argentina. Here's 2 meter temperature anomaly, and we see some browns over the Arctic, but also blues, and then Look at these purples. That's a lot colder than normal. Coming across Alaska and Canada, and then see the red browns right next to it. This is what I'm talking about, the cold air next to the warm air, because of the broken jet stream. And then in Russia, they have a similar situation, but they've got reds and going up into the pink. So that's about 20 C higher than normal in the interior of Russia there. So here's the flat view. See, all just straight down through Russia, all the way down. Here's Kazakhstan here. And we've got a little bit of red-brown here in the Antarctic. Worldwide, we're up 0.4 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.8 C. The Arctic is up 0.9 C. The Antarctic is down 0.1 C. The southern hemisphere is in balance, and the tropics are up 0.3 C. That's higher than normal. Here's precipitation and clouds. Now the green is rain, and see we got rain just skirting that east edge of Greenland, and snow all around the rain, and headed up to Iceland there, see. And the blue is snow. And I don't cover a lot of the just the plain weather. A lot of other channels do that. I focus in on the Arctic and the Antarctic, where we got sea ice and methane. Focusing in on methane and those areas. Jet stream. Here's our jet pieces. See, it's totally broken. See the big loop here? Now here's the global view, the flat view. Now it's so broken, it's like we've got looks like it's making a separate new jet stream that kind of goes around the equator region or the mid-latitude. See, and we've been seeing this forming for the last few weeks, and at first it was just like breaking off from the northern jet stream, but now it's like it's got its own. It's formed its own, just like a line around the equator, kind of. And this is a little bit above where it comes up over Africa, because the equator is right here. See the zero? That's where the equator is. So just so it's right at the equator here in the Pacific, and then it loops up. When it hits South America, it loops up a little bit to about 20 north latitude, and then it ends up around 30 north latitude when it comes out over to the West Pacific. But it's like this straight line. And look, high winds. Well, I've seen them worse, but it's high winds coming across. And this is the scale. These are I think these are knots. Yeah, wind speed knots. This is at 250 HPA, so it's pretty high up in the atmosphere. It's where they measure the jet stream. But look at this weird break here in the Pacific. It's just crazy. The jet clumps, jet pieces, jet clumps, whatever you want to call them. Now we'll look a little more closely at sea ice in a moment. That's what's there right now. Here's sea surface temperature anomaly as of yesterday. We've still got browns here in this Barents Sea, and heavy brown and kind of brownish red around those two sides of Svalbard still. It looks about the same as last week to me. This reddish brown around Greenland. And then, I didn't mean to do that. But we'll just click through since I started. Look at these reds all along this West Pacific coastline. See that? And here's Japan, and there's reds and pinks coming across. See, here it comes. There's the red spot in the North Pacific. There's also a red spot that we see in the South Pacific. Hasn't really taken hold yet. See the blue though? This is the equatorial Pacific. That's lower than normal. Here it is, South America. See, it's red. This is heating up in their summertime here. And then here's the Antarctic. It's flipped from how we normally see it. Here's north, south, east, and west. Western Peninsula. Here's South America. Look at the brown here in the Ross Sea. So that's warmer than normal. And then see, it's brown around a lot of Australia, and here in this Tasman Sea between Australia and New Zealand. See, it's heating up. This normally heats up during their summertime. They're heading into summer now. I mean, it is summer for them now. So there's that. Now we'll go to our slideshow. Now I missed getting this a couple of days. I know one day Climate Reanalyzer didn't update. One day. I can't remember which one. And then another, I don't know if it didn't update a second day or if I just missed it. But we'll see. I'll show what I have here. Here we are today. This is sea ice and snow cover for the Arctic. You can see the white on land. That's snow as it's, winter's setting in. See, it's white all the way across Russia. So it's still struggling here, refreezing in the Baffin Bay next to Greenland, and then it's creeping down on this east side of Greenland. It's open on these two sides of Svalbard, and it's creeping back a tiny bit here in the Barents Sea, and we can see it's covered through the interior of the Arctic Ocean from coast to coast here. And then here's the Bering Strait, and then going out into the Bering Sea and the Pacific, growing back there, and little fringe coming back here in the Sea of Okhotsk. So we'll go through this slideshow. Here we were last Sunday for my show. We'll see what difference we can see. It's really dramatic in the summertime when it's melting. It's not that dramatic of a change from day to day or week to week up here in the wintertime. So here we were last Sunday. Here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's go back. Monday, Wednesday. I missed Tuesday. And Friday. So we missed Tuesday and Thursday. So here was Friday, Saturday, and today. So not a lot of change. We're seeing a little fringe come in down here off the coast of Newfoundland. A little fringe of ice there. Now we'll move on to our Navy models. This is sea ice thickness for the Arctic from the U.S. Navy. This was updated to today. The color ledger is here on the right from the light lavender is about 1/2 meter thick, and then it goes to dark blue, to aqua, and to green and yellow and red as it goes up. Gets thicker and thicker. So the aqua, the bright aqua, is about 2 to 2.5 meters thick. The dark aqua is about 1.5 meters thick. The dark blue is about 1 to 1.25 meters thick. The green is about 3 meters thick. And we don't have much green, just a little bit, and a little hint of yellow in a couple of places, little bit of red, that about 4.5 meters thick, but not very much at all. And so they're so when we look at this, we can see the extent where the edges are, and this is so much thinner than it was when in 2012, when it was at the lowest extent in the summertime. And so it's been struggling ever since then. And so as the sea ice just keeps diminishing in the summer, there's less for it to grow back and to thicken up. We've got this hole still in this North Baffin Bay next to Greenland. Warm water there. Here's Svalbard, here's Franz Josef Land, here's Novaya Zemlya. And see we're getting aquas coming in around the coastlines. Here in the Beaufort Sea, it's finally starting to thicken, moving into aquas and dark aquas. And this is our thickest ice here above Canada, going up into quadrant 1 here. Here's the 30-day animation. It was updated to yesterday. So the data goes back 3 weeks, and the forecast period goes out to next Saturday. So let's see what their model is forecasting. So they're showing fringe of ice coming back on this west side of Novaya Zemlya. And it's still struggling around these two sides of Svalbard. What's it doing down here at Greenland? Staying about the same, it looks like, around Greenland. Yeah, just not a lot of change there. Here around Russia, this is the Okhotsk Sea. See, it's coming back a tiny bit. A little fringe of ice. And also here in the Bering Sea. That's so pale. That pale color, that's just a little fringe of ice. Very thin, and not concentrated at all. So okay, here we are at the end of the model, so let's go back. Here we are today on the 9th. That's what I wanted. So I'm going to click through and we can see what changes they're showing. So here's tomorrow. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Not a lot of change. Mainly thickening. And it's slow going. Now, here's the Beaufort sea ice view. Sea ice thickness. Canada is here on the right. We've got red along the coastline here. A little fringe of red. Kind of a bright red. That's about 4.25 meters thick. And then the green, that's about 3 meters thick, moving into yellow. Then the bright aqua, 2 to 2.5 meters thick. Then the dark aqua, the dark blue, and see, we've got some aqua and then the blue right next to it here in the Beaufort Sea. So here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to today. So the forecast will go out to next Sunday. So we're definitely seeing thickening here, going from the blue to the dark aqua and the brighter aqua too. That's in the Beaufort Sea. Then we'll jump to the Antarctic. Here's sea ice thickness for today. Now here, this is the Ross Sea. You can see it's all melted out. The big break going out into the Pacific. And then shallow or thin ice around next to the opening. Here's some aqua hanging around out in the ocean. Right around the coastline, it's pretty open. Now up here, we still have some ice at Thwaites Glacier and Pine Island Glacier. And then this is the Weddell Sea. It's thinning out really a whole lot. And here's the northern edge or northern part. That's all melted out. and see it's melted up to the coastline in a lot of places. Here's the 30-day animation. Again, this was updated to yesterday, so the forecast period goes out to next Saturday. So let's look at this. Remember, it's in high melt. Look how it thins out, this band that's a little bit out from the continent. Really thins out. Look at this Weddell Sea. Look how it dwindles. See, there's a lot of white when you get to the end of the forecast period. Here, I'll stop it. Here we go. See, a lot of white coming in there. We still have aqua. This is the most of the thickest ice down here, right here in the Weddell Sea. They're just thinning out more and more around the coastlines. This is National Snow and Ice Data Center as of yesterday, the 8th. Here we have sea ice concentration. The golden line is median, and so we're underneath. So we're quite a bit less than the median. And see, this area here by Greenland in the Baffin Bay, that's just remaining open. Here's the chart for sea ice extent. The blue line is this winter. The dotted line is the winter of 2012 to 2013. We're still above that lowest reading, but we're still below. This is the median. Still showing some refreeze here. And here's the Antarctic sea ice concentration. Look at all these areas where it's that much lower. And then here's the chart for sea ice extent. It's running parallel to the dark green, which was last year. We're still well below last year and well below the average. And that's all of those. Now we'll tour through NASA Worldview. I'll refresh to see. See, we just don't have this data up here in Russia, but most of this is in the dark anyway, so that won't affect what we're trying to look at. I turned on the sea ice concentration layer, and I'll turn on the blue marble layer that cuts out the clouds so we don't have any distractions to see this sea ice here. Now we want to see solid white, but we still are seeing pinks or light pink, so it's not fully concentrated, meaning that there are holes in the ice, leads that are open, different things. See the red here up by Greenland, that's the hole there. Then you see the rainbow colors, that's either melting or freezing, and considering we're in the freezing stage, it's generally a refreeze where you see the colors going eventually up to white, hopefully. Okay, so here we are, last Sunday, so I'll just click through. We can see what's happened. Oh, look, here on the 3rd, look at this fringe of ice that formed in this Norwegian Sea here. And it's gone on the 4th. That was quick. Here's the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So, not a lot of change, actually. It's just kind of holding. So we'll turn off the blue marble, and we'll turn off the sea ice concentration. I'm not going to bother with the nighttime view. That one is not showing us anything that we can make sense of right now. And we'll hop down to the Antarctic and look at this. I still don't have this data here on the east side. So when we go there, we'll look at it for yesterday. So we'll start down here on the southern end in the Ross Sea. Here's a fringe of ice here. Here's where it's open. We've got clouds and more ice over here on the right. This is all open, no ice. What you're looking at is clouds. Well, there may be just a few ice pieces like here, but generally it's ice free. Here is Ross Island. Here it was on the 7th. This is Mount Erebus. I think that must be a shadow there. Yeah, that's a shadow. See how it's melted here on the right. Up in that little bay area. We'll go back to today. See this coastline. See, it's melted all the way up. There's a little ledge of ice that's just extending from the coastline, and it's melted all the way up to that edge. Let's see. Here it's come all the way up to the coast. See? Here, wait. I got turned around. Here we go. Alright, right up here. This is the Thwaites Glacier. That's a big cloud. Here's a good view from the 7th. That was Friday. So this is the tongue, and it's still there, but see the pieces breaking off. So it's coming apart. Here's a crack there, and here's a big crack going kind of diagonally. See that? Here's a hole opening up. Here's another hole opening. Here's a hole. These are areas where it's melting. Now this had calved off, and then it refroze. And so this is the sea ice, the surface of the sea ice. It's rough, and it's not just one level, it goes up and down. It's a rough texture. Here's this west side that's breaking up. And then this is Pine Island Glacier, and the ice that comes down. This is sea ice that refroze here. That's still there. There's a hole opening up here. This had calved off right up here a couple of years ago. And so it's under a lot of clouds today. Let's go back, see what we can see. Not much. Here we were on the first. That was the best view yet, where it's opening up. And then here's the Western Peninsula. This is the Ross Sea. Here's the Ross Ice Shelf. And this is an excellent view. This is A76 iceberg. See, it's all intact. And here's a cloud right next to it. But this broke off at the beginning of their winter last summer. Broke off right down here. See the line? See, it went from here all the way across to here. And now it's making its way out towards the ocean. So here's the sea ice, see? This is where the aqua sea ice is on the Navy. So the thickest ice is right in here. Here's the Western Peninsula. Here's South Georgia Island. It's under clouds. The South Sandwich Islands are, see if we can find them. Well, not locating them right now. Well, there's one way that you can find them. Just turn on the blue marble layer. Oh, they're right here, right in front of me. See how tiny they are? And this is an area where we have a lot of earthquakes, just to the east of these islands. Let's see, there are a lot of clouds. Here we go. Oh, okay. See the lines there? That's the 7th. Here's the 8th. See those? And here's the 9th. Totally cloud covered today. And then coming back down, Here's the Brunt Ice Shelf. Here's a good view on the 7th. And see these pieces of ice, they're breaking off around the edge there. This is an area where we see methane coming up on camps all along this area. And see no ice up here on the north side. Oh, that's the 7th. Let's see, today, same thing. And then we've got no data there. Here it was yesterday. Here's the Amory Ice Shelf. A lot of clouds. Let's go to the 7th. That was a good viewing day. Look how this ice has moved out. Remember, it had been up close. So that's all broken up. See? This is going to move out. Uh-oh. Here we are. Here we are today, yesterday. See? See where it's melted all the way up to the coastlines. And down here, this is the Totten Glacier. And here we are today. It's under clouds. Let's see, there's a big crack all the way across there. That tongue. And we're back to where we started from. So there's that. I wanted to share, here's with this Wolf Volcano. Here's the update. Well, this was from yesterday. Wolf Volcano, Isabella Island, Galapagos. New eruption, spectacular lava flows from several vents and lava flows. So here's a close-up of that picture. Lava fountains erupt from fissure chain of vents. So it's just a line of lava coming up. And here's where it's streaming down. Here's a nighttime view. Glowing steam at Wolf Volcano, it says. Okay, a new effusive eruption started at the volcano at 23:20 local time yesterday after 7 years of relative calm period. So this was posted yesterday. So Friday it started going off. The IGEPN's seismic network detected a seismic swarm at around 21:35 local time, followed by a volcano tectonic earthquake with magnitude 2.4. The activity intensified an hour and a half later at 23:15 local time, accompanied by rising signal of volcanic tremor indicating rapid magma flux towards the surface. Now, USGS didn't report any of these. A new fissure chain of vents opened on the southwestern flank of the volcano and started to erupt spectacular lava fountains feeding new lava flows. Gas and ash emissions continue to rise to an altitude between 1,900 meters and 3,800 meters, and due to prevailing wind, They drift to the northeast and west direction. The warning bulletin states that eventual water-magma interaction may generate acid steam and violent explosions at the sea entry, and people are advised to avoid approaching the lava flow. The Wolf Volcano is the highest volcano of the Galapagos Islands and straddles the equator at the north end of the archipelago's largest island, Isabella. The 1,710-meter-high edifice has steeper slopes than most other Isabella volcanoes, and so on. So, there's all these different videos you can see. So this is on Volcano Discovery. You can find it there. I'll leave the link for that. Now we'll look at earthquakes. Right now we've got 181 worldwide, but we've had a lot happen this week. Let's look at 7 days, all magnitudes. Almost 2,000 earthquakes, all magnitudes. 1,892 this last week. And we had one, look here, up here in the Kara Sea, the Laptev Sea, there's a tectonic plate line that runs right through it, and this was a 5.1. And right over here, this is Severnaya Zemlya. Here's Komsomolets, and with the big methane billowing up here, and then over here in the North Kara Sea as well. And then we also saw methane moving off of Russia out through the Laptev Sea too this week. And we also had, here's a 6.1 in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. This is just west of the Canary Islands and La Palma. So 6.1 right on the plate line, and a 4.7 as well. Also, off the coast of Nicaragua, well, we had one on land here. We have 8 here, but the largest, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. My mouse has a mind of its own. We had a 6.1. That was the largest. That's what set all this off. That was on the 6th. Off the coast of Corinto, Nicaragua. And then 4s, and there was a 5.0 there. And we even had a 4.9 there today. And then see, here's Gulf of California, 4.7. Look at all these on the coast of South America. We also had one, let's see, on next to this Western Peninsula in the Antarctic, 5.7. That was on the 5th. We had a couple here in the South Sandwich Islands region, 5.3 and 4.9. And look at all of this activity here in the South Pacific. Look at all of this. from north of New Zealand up and around. Australia had one. This was a 4.2 near Narrogin. That was on the 5th. Here's a 6.0, Kotabu, Indonesia. That was 544 kilometers deep. We also had, let's see, look, see, they're just everywhere. Also China, look at this, on the edge of the Tibetan Plateau were 3 at Xinjiang, 6.6, this came in on the 7th, 5.1 and 4.5, all those were on the 7th. And anyway, you can see. Then the orange ones are in the last 24 hours. And we've got 3 right here in Greece. 5.5, Florina, Greece. 4.6 and 4.0 right next to it. Here's look at this, just south of Turkey, 5.1. And see, just all the usual areas rocking along. Now South Carolina had some, they had 3 near Lugoff, 2.5, 2.6 and 1.5, and this 2.6 was only 0.5 kilometers deep. So magma's rising when you see it shallow like that. West Texas, here's California up, look at all of this, and we had at the base here of the Juan de Fuca plate, look, right here around the Petrolia area, there were 20 here this week, so it's still quite a bit of movement. So the largest one was this 4.6. right at this fulcrum point where the San Andreas fault line meets that Juan de Fuca plate. So that's my report for tonight. Now I will bring it back to a spiritual perspective as we continue to read out of the Bible. I always like to bring it back to the Bible. We're in the end times, and I believe we're much further along in the end times than a lot of people think. And those who are not aware of that will be caught unaware, and because things will be happening in very fast, quick succession, and you don't want to be caught off guard. So we're still in the book of John. There are 21 chapters in the book of John, and this is the story of Jesus' life. And in John 19 we read it was about the crucifixion and the everything leading up to the crucifixion. So here we are, John chapter 20. The first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene early, when it was yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. Then she runneth, and cometh to Simon Peter, and to the other disciple, whom Jesus loved, and saith unto them, They have taken away the Lord out of the sepulchre, and we know not where they have laid him. Peter therefore went forth, and that other disciple, and came to the sepulchre. So they ran both together, and the other disciple did outrun Peter, and came first to the sepulchre. And he, stooping down, and looking in, saw the linen clothes lying, yet went he not in. Then cometh Simon Peter following him, and went into the sepulchre, and seeing the linen clothes lie, and the napkin that was about his head, not lying with the linen clothes, but wrapped together in a place by itself. Then went in also that other disciple, which came first to the sepulchre, and he saw and believed. For as yet they knew not the scripture, that he must rise again from the dead. Then the disciples went away again unto their own home. But Mary stood without at the sepulchre weeping, and as she wept, she stooped down, and looked into the sepulchre, and seeth two angels in white sitting, the one at the head, and the other at the feet, where the body of Jesus had lain. And they say unto her, Woman, why weepest thou? She saith unto them, Because they have taken away my Lord, and I know not where they have laid him. And when she had thus said, she turned herself back, and saw Jesus standing, and knew not that it was Jesus. Jesus saith unto her, Woman, why weepest thou? Whom seekest thou? She, supposing him to be the gardener, saith unto him, Sir, if thou have borne him hence, tell me where thou hast laid him, and I will take him away. Jesus saith unto her, Mary. She turned herself, and saith unto him, Rabboni, which is to say, Master. Jesus saith unto her, Touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Father, but go to my brethren, and say unto them, I ascend unto my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God. Mary Magdalene came and told the disciples that she had seen the Lord, and that he had spoken these things unto her. Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled, for fear of the Jews, came Jesus and stood in the midst, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. And when he had said so, he shewed unto them his hands and his side. Then were the disciples glad when they saw the Lord. Then said Jesus to them again, Peace be unto you. As my Father hath sent me, even so send I you. And when he had said this, he breathed on them, and saith unto them, Receive ye the Holy Ghost. Whosoever sins ye remit, they are remitted unto them, and whosoever sins ye retain, they are retained. But Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Jesus came. The other disciples therefore said unto him, We have seen the Lord. But he said unto them, Except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe. And after 8 days again his disciples were within, and Thomas with them. Then came Jesus, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, Peace be unto you. Then saith he to Thomas, Reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands, and reach hither thy hand, and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless, but believing. And Thomas answered and said unto him, My Lord and my God. Jesus saith unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen, and yet have believed. And many other signs truly did Jesus in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written, that ye might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing ye might have life through his name. John chapter 20. So it's a lot easier to believe when you witness things, when you witness it firsthand, and we have to have faith. In order to believe, we have to have faith. And there are many manifestations of God's miracles and love, and Jesus' love. We just have to have the eyes to see it, and we have to ask for him. We have to ask for the connection and the communication. We have to repent and then come to him and open the door. And once we do that, he's right there. He'll be right there. He'll just walk right with you through whatever you have to walk through. So if you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I recommend it. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And the only way to heaven through God's kingdom is through him. And that's where we're headed if you're a believer. We're headed to heaven. We're going home. So I love you all. I'm praying for you. Hope you all have a safe week. And until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.